Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man 2 Gamerverse Peter Parker Black Suit Symbiote Spider-Man. Have not played the game, but I was intrigued by this figure. I always liked the black suit. I've done a review on the black suit Symbiote Spider-Man from the Secret Wars wave, and so I was obviously intrigued by this one and had been on the fence about picking him up, but finally the FOMO kicked in and decided to order him and got him the other day. And I gotta say, he's not a bad figure. And there's some limitations in terms of articulation, yes. However, there's a lot of positives that I really like about this figure. And I will dive into that. First, let's talk a little bit about the box. I do like this box quite a bit. Like I said, I haven't played the game, so um, I will say that I'm not a big fan of the big white Spider-Man spider logo on the red and blue suit that we saw in the first game. I mean, I'm familiar with the game, but I've just never played it. But anyway, the box is pretty cool. I'm guessing this is straight from the video game. Like this is the pictures you would see for the different skins for Peter Parker or for Spider-Man, except for maybe Black Cat. I guess he can't turn into Black Cat, but yeah, pretty cool all the way around. I like the red and the white and everything. So that's the box. The accessories are what we've come to expect, the continued trend of not much with regards to our Marvel Legends figures from Hasbro. He does come with he comes with two fists. Where's the other one? And and I want to say this is a completely new, these aren't just reused fists, as far as I can tell. I think everything about this figure is top-down, brand new sculpt. So we get two fists. We got thwipping hands and wall crawling hands. I've got the left thwipping hand and the right wall crawling hand already on him, but he's got these particular hands. And I want to say these are new too. And I'm actually kind of surprised that there are thwipping hands. I mean, yes, that's kind of a standard look that for Spider-Man. But with the symbiote suit, the webs come from the back. At least in the comics, I don't like I said, I haven't played the game, so maybe he thwips his webs in the comic, even with the symbiote suit. But the webs typically came from the back of the wrist, the top of the wrist, and were not true webbing. They were material from the suit itself. So anyway, but they come with the thwipping hands, and then it comes with this symbiote black representation, I guess, of a web line. And I don't think we've seen this before, and I'm trying to get to focus. I don't see myself ever displaying him with this because it's very limp. I usually use some floral wiring and make my own web lines, and they're much more flexible and much more posable. So this is practically useless. It also comes with a place where you can grip it, but there's no gripping hand. And the promo shots are kind of creative in showing its usage as kind of being draped over the thwipping hand or what have you, but it's not going to hold it. It's not going to hold it. And then there's also this little hook right here. So I guess, and that's actually pretty sturdy, I guess. Um, I have kind of tested it out, kind of putting him on, like putting a foot underneath here and then hanging him, and it will do that. So you can hang him from that if you want, but the detail, it's just black plastic. It looks like a black web line, but kind of flows like something you'd see from the symbiote. But that's it. That's all you get. So you get what you get. You don't picture fit. So, uh, all right. So let's dive into the figure here. Get him off of his stand. And the first thing that I really will sing the praises of with regards to this figure is the posability. Now, it's like, well, he's got limited articulation. How can you have posability? You'll be surprised. I mean, yes, like I said, there's some limitations. There's no butterfly joint and there's no drop down hips, which is I'm the not having the drop down hips is the true tragedy. I understand that they went with, I guess if you compare it to the box, they went with form following function or form instead of function. They didn't want to break up the sculpt. So I love this particular stylized logo, and I like the fact that it is sculpted in as opposed to the Secret Wars Spider-Man that is painted on. And I have my issues with the Secret Wars Spider-Man, and but not the same issues with this one. So I think this is a better figure despite not having some articulation that I would like to see. Um, let's see, where can I go from here? What should I talk about next? Um, Sculpting is really cool. It I like the fact that it looks like kind of armor, almost like insectoid armor, and it's just got a lot of really cool texturing and ribbing and uh, kind of scaling and everything. It looks like it's like if he had decided to because the symbiote suit can mimic anything. It can mimic street clothes. So it makes total sense that if he wanted to make some spider armor, he could turn it into, or ask the symbiote to turn it into some armor. And it's really cool. I like the ridges and everything, all the way up to the mask. It's almost like a helmet. It's got some texture on the back and all the way around. And it's sculpted, the spider logo is sculpted on the back, and it's pretty well painted. It's got some little issues here and there, but the thing that I like about the fact that it's sculpted is that if it does start to chip or fade or what have you, you can repaint it without much trouble. The issue that I have on this Spider-Man, and I probably pointed out in the video, is that it does not feel like it's painted on very well. It kind of feels like if you're not careful, over time you're going to wear this thing off. You're going to wear this logo down. So I will probably, I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably give this logo, this upper torso, a blast of clear coat just to help preserve it, because it's just not as good as I would like it to be. So, but as we go, I'll probably bringing him back in, and we'll compare for comparison. Um, let's see. Okay, so he can look down that way. It's on a ball hinge, and he does not look up very far. So there will probably need to be some doctoring in the neck. And there's a little bit of a gap right there, but not much for me. It's not bad like or as bad as the Scarlet Spider figure. Boy, that neck joint is terrible, but cool figure overall. They got the paint on the eyes very well. Now these eyes right here are what I had hoped would come with the Secret War Spider-Man, because we got the kind of angry, venomized eyes that were not the original look for the symbiote Spider-Man. They were more like the Gamerverse Spider-Man. So, and yes, I have swapped out the heads, and they do fit. They do have the same ball, or at least same size, but this head is actually a little bit bigger it looks a little bit bigger on the Secret Wars figure. So, and they just don't look right. I'll swap them out and I'll show you, but it just doesn't look right. But like I said, it's just a hunk of black plastic with some white paint apps on it, and yet the sculpting and everything, it's just kind of, I just really like it. I just really like it. And it's another thing that I like about this figure is that it feels like top to bottom it's the same type of plastic, as opposed to the Secret Wars Spider-Man, where it feels like there's different plastic in the shins, different plastic in the legs and the hips, and you can actually kind of tell, at least in hand, there's different coloration in the lower in the waist, and it it just feels different. It just feels different. And with the symbiote Spider-Man here, the Secret Wars Spider-Man, he's a little harder to pose, and as I said in my previous video, the shin swivels are a little wobbly. Not so on this guy. So that's something that I'm really appreciative of, that it feels like it's all made from the same material. The sculpting came out really well, and the fluidity of the joints is it's on point. Now he gets a good T-pose. No, like we did the neck, there's no floating neck or anything. That would just kind of break up the sculpt, I think. But pretty good T-pose, good bicep swivel. and very fluid joints. Just everything just kind of, you can move it. It's tight, but not too tight. It's fluid. And so good range of motion, pinless joints. So you got that. You've got good hinge on the wrists, and it rotates around. And so both arms are very, very fluid. Father, can you hear me? Um, the paint's pretty good. He has the diaphragm cut and the inverted waist swivel or waist cut, waist crunch or ab crunch, inverted ab crunch. I'll talk good today, eventually. And he can look forward about that far, or lean forward about that far. And he doesn't go forward just the diaphragm, but he goes back kind of inhumanly. You can see the gap. He goes back way far, and I just broke his spine. So he goes back further than he goes forward, which seems to be a very common occurrence with Marvel Legends figures that have this configuration. Don't know why it's designed that way, but it is what it is. He has splits. He goes about that far, which these splits are about the same as the Secret Wars Spider-Man. I would like to see better splits for sure. He does not have drop-down hips, as I mentioned, which is an absolute tragedy. He does not have butterfly joints, but I'm okay with that. That a lot of times butterfly joints to me don't really accomplish as much as the hope is. They're not really doing a whole lot. Sometimes you get some really good, a figure with some really good, um, butterfly joints in Classified and sometimes in Marvel Legends. Yes, I think Valiverse probably does butterfly joints better than any other company, but I just, you know, if every figure in Classified can have drop down hips, why can't they give Spider-Man drop down hips? It's just, of all the characters that needs drop down hips so you get a little better range of motion, don't save it for the Maximum Spider-Man. Give it to everyone. I mean, seriously, how hard can it be to just, hey, call up the G.I. Joe team and say, hey, you got any extra hip joints, drop down hips floating around? We'd like to put them into our Spider-Man figures. Seriously. So, so yeah, there's that rant over, but that's kind of my biggest gripe is that he doesn't get good enough splits. Now, I think that can be fixed if I take the legs off and mill out some material at the top of the hip. I think I will probably, and inside the hip there, I think I can get more range of motion in that regard. However, like I said, no drop down hips, so he kicks up not even 90 degrees, just barely. Maybe if you rotate it around a little bit, you'll get to the 90. But it needs, I think, more. They should have had more material beveled out in the hip joint, and I think that would have helped as well. So he doesn't kick back very far. But the thigh swivel is very solid. It's very seamless. It's very fluid. I like it. There's no wiggle or it's doesn't get gappy. The hips are very fluid in their motion, even though they're a little limited. But same with for the knees, and you get pretty good range of motion there. So he kicks back that far. Uh, it's very, like I said, very solid. I can feel the ratcheting, but it's not overly difficult like on this guy. I do feel like there's some looseness in some areas and too much tightness in others. So everything's very uniform in this figure. So it's same for the shin swivel. Very good. And then you have really good fluid foot articulation, and he rotates and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I really dig this particular figure. I think it came out well. Yes, like I said, he's limited in some of his articulation, but the fluidity of it is just the posability, um, the ease at which you can kind of just get him into various poses. Now, I'm not like a crazy, you know, crazy poser guy, but you know, if he's yeah, yes, he's limited a little bit, but you can get some good poses, some very Spider-Man-esque kind of poses. So that's not too bad. Oh, I didn't do the diaphragm swivel. So yeah, he kind of goes side to side a bit. You get a pretty good range of motion there. And like I said, the back, I will probably, now this, I might actually try and mill out some material in there just to kind of get a little more forward bend. But yeah, I mean, he does, it's pretty decent. It's fairly decent, I gotta say. So I really have had probably the most fun posing this guy than this guy because just kind of, while I prefer this look, just moving him around and the stiffness in some places and the kind of stickiness to the paint, it just kind of annoys me. So, on a whole, and you know, and this guy doesn't come with, you know, he comes with pretty much the same stuff other in that shield, but you know, for what you get, I think this is a very solid figure. I'm going to give him a warp factor of 8, which I think I gave the Secret Wars a 7.5. So yeah, I think this is a solid 8. I see myself probably posing this guy around quite a bit more than my Secret Wars Spidey, which is kind of a disappointment in and of itself. But I'm just glad that this logo turned out so well, and the spider symbol, and how well it's recreated. It's very rough all the way around. So yeah, warp factor of 8 for this guy. All right, I said I was going to swap out the head, so hang on just a second, and I will show you that. Okay, so here they are with the head swap, and you can already tell that this is not going to work. So the head is a little too big on the, you know, the Gamerverse head is a little too big on the Secret Wars head. At least it sits a little higher on the neck, and this one sits a little lower on the neck. The Secret Wars head on the Gamerverse body. That it kind of looks cool, but you can also tell there's a difference in the black color. So you have more of a flat black on the Secret Wars and glossy black on the Gamerverse, and it just doesn't look very well. So I guess you could probably repaint it, you know, get a flat black and then a glossy black and update it if you wanted to. I'm not going to go to all that trouble. It doesn't look, I mean, the kind of the texture, the nature of the Gamerverse head doesn't really match up very well with the Secret Wars body, and it's got this big gap here. He can look down very well, um, and look fairly up fairly well because it's on a disc hinge. Can't really do that with the this head on the it's ball joint. He doesn't look down very far at all, and doesn't look up at all either. So it's not a good swap, but hey, I had to try it. So anyway, let's get these guys readjusted. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to give this guy a warp factor of 8. I think he's a very solid figure for what you get, and I think he's going to give me a lot of posable fun. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Did you pick this guy up? Are you passing on him? What do you think? Have you played the game? And if so, what did you like about it? So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time.